Hello. Welcome back to another episode of A Brit Does Baseball Does podcast. I'm Cal. I'm joined by my good friend and quite dashing co-host. That's Gaz over there. How you doing, big dog? You okay?
Not great. I
Oh,
appreciate the
good.
compliment. Yeah, I'll be honest. Elephant in the room. Me and Cal faced off in fantasy football playoffs last week, and Cal beat me.
To be fair, I didn't. It was Trey McBride putting up 54 fuckball points that really secured it, who I did acquire from you earlier in the season.
Yeah, so you beat me. Thank you.
Thanks, Trey.
Other than that, I'm all good. I'm excited. We're doing another season review.
We are, and Trey McBride is linked in. We're talking about a team in Arizona. We're talking about the D-backs today.
Oh, snakes are definitely alive with this one.
They are. We are joined by the host of the T-backs podcast, our pal Benji. Why don't you bring him in?
There we go.
Hi lads, how we doing?
Good, bro. How are you?
I'm good. I heard Trey McBride the intro. My ears perked up. I'm loving the connections already.
Yeah, dude. He's the star of the week for sure. He got several gold stars from me, the commissioner of our stupid little league.
Yeah, I will say he's also the commissioner, so I was never going to win that.
It's we could talk all day about how awful our fantasy football league is, and one day we will. We'll do an episode dedicated to it, and it's complete nonsense. But we're here to talk about Diamondbacks and stuff. Are you ready? You feeling prepared to relive whatever last season was for you?
Well, we're already talking about awful things, so yeah, we can absolutely get right back into it.
Hell yeah. Well, as is customary, we like to start our episodes with some hot takes. Again, Boo, Gaz's dog, been awfully busy over the course of the season, so these takes are coming from us. I believe Gaz has got a couple. Are you feeling ready for him?
Hit me.
Oh, we won't do any of that, but I'll give you a hot take. The first hot take is that Corbin Carroll will win the MVP in 2026.
Well, that's an incredibly spicy hot take.
Yeah.
I don't think it's correct, but it's definitely up there on the spiciness level. I love Corbin. I love how his all around game has developed this year. He's worked on his arm. He's got the kind of defensive assist that previously we used to only see from the likes of Adolis Garcia with his absolute cannon of an arm. Corbin's worked on that. He's worked on his power as well. Made a slight swing adjustment in spring training this year. He brought in very much what people are dubbing the Shohei Ohtani mechanics, and his bat speed is up as a result. He's got way more pop for a guy that only stands at 5'10". However, he's not going to win an MVP when MVP is still basically a popularity contest, unfortunately. I think he's absolutely got the talent to do it, and I think he's definitely got, the range to keep developing. People forget he was Rookie of the Year only 3 years ago, right? Like, Corbin's barely into his major league career, and I think he has the capacity to be a, MVP, World Series ring winner if, we can put a team around him that gives him that support, because as a leadoff man, I love him. He's hitting triples left, right, and center, and he's making funny faces the whole time while he's around the base, like, "Ah, my God, I'm so fast." The G-forces are literally pulling his cheeks off. But if you seriously believe that anybody's going to vote for him over he who shall not be named, that Japanese bloke who plays for that team on the West Coast, then unfortunately you're a bit deluded.
Yeah. So on a Nando spice scale, are we saying that's very hot, or are we saying that's off the scale?
I'm saying that's burning a hole in my intestinal lining with the spiciness.
Oh.
I'm inclined to agree. That's Perry Tamo Bukayo Saka edition. It's not even worth talking about. It's like you said, he's a phenomenal player, but he's not on the he's not a Smurf. He's not a Yank. He's just unfortunately in Arizona for him in terms of winning MVP votes and stuff. He's one of the best players in the league, and it shouldn't be a question. But yeah, no, when when the man that hates his friends exists and that giant that stands in the outfield in New York they're still about, unfortunately, there's not really much hope for anybody else. What do you think, Gaz?
Yeah, I mean, it's off the. It's not made it out of the lab. They've tested it and they've gone, it's burning through metal. Maybe we hold that one back.
Yeah.
Again, it's not through lack of ability. He's got the potential to do it. He'll probably lead the league in triples again, or at least in the NL.
Oh, easy.
It's more just, I think this year proved, especially with the AL MVP, that it's a popularity contest, as you said, Benji. And Shohei Ohtani's going to win it for the next 5 years. I'll say the name because I know you two are allergic. But on the AL side, I mean, Cal Raleigh was MVP. I'm sorry, it's not even close. Sorry, it is close. Aaron Judge obviously had a good season. I'm not taking that away, but I could get into this, the whole thing. But, if MVP is going to continue to be a popularity contest, then Carroll has got to wait until Shohei retires, which will be in 2052 after Decoy has found a way to take the mound himself and, I don't know, strike out Jock Peterson or someone like that.
I got to say that is a well-trained dog. That dog has, quote, thrown out a first pitch at Dodger Stadium before, and he hit it like square over the plate at like middle of the thigh level. That was very impressive.
I hate that dog. I hate everything to do with that man. Can we move up?
We can move on. The second of two hot takes. In previous episodes, if you've been keeping track, fans of the podcast, if you're not a fan, where have you been all your life? Or T-Backs fans, if you're not watching the T-Backs podcast and you're a Diamondbacks fan, go and watch it. It's another British-based podcast. Benji will plug it like fuck later. I just want to get everyone in there.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been accused of my hot takes not being as spicy as booze. So this one I thought I'd have a little bit of fun with. So it's Ketel Marte will get pissed off by the trade rumors and will hit sub 200 before getting traded to the Kansas City Royals at the deadline, where him and Bobby Witt Jr. will become the greatest infield duo of the 21st century, winning 5 of the next 7 World Series.
Well, that's still pretty spicy because of just how specific it is. Oh my goodness, there's multiple parts to this one.
But obviously, is it more spicy than Corbin Carroll winning the MVP next year?
No.
Yeah,
because as has come out this week, Ketel Marte, despite the acquisition of Merrill Kelly back through free agency, probably is still on the trade block for the Diamondbacks. There is a fairly hefty no trade list of teams, but the Kansas City Royals are, as far as I know, not on it. Whether or not they have the sort of things that we'd be looking to trade for, obviously arms are our big demand at the moment. Whether or not they have quite the thing, like, no disrespect to someone like Chris Bubik, but I don't really see the arms, especially in the pen, that we need to get. If we were going to go for it, then I'm sure that somebody out there is going to put in the comments, oh, don't you know about this number 13 prospect who is the best thing that the minor leagues have ever seen? I'll be honest, I barely keep up with our own farm rotation, so I have no idea who's down in Triple and Double A for Kansas. But I think at this take, if I'm being very objective about it, is incredibly spicy just because, one, the idea of Ketel hitting below 200 is almost unthinkable for me. He's just that good. Like, even if he were to show up to the ballpark, Lord forbid, drunk out of his mind with other things on his mind, and his partner's just called him, say his dog's just thrown up on the living room floor or whatever, he'd still, hit, close to league average on his worst of worst days. So also I'll call that, a very hot, going on like the limited edition cranberry spice, whatever nonsense that's currently on the Nando's menu, just because somebody out there in your brain has decided that Ketel can hit under 200, which is nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, out of all the things, it's probably the least likely of that entire sentence. Cal?
Lemon and herb, put your house on it.
All right, sweet. What do you reckon the odds are on that?
Oh, good.
I reckon we could buy a boat.
Worth a $5. We could go. We could go buy a boat, and then Dan could work with it. That'd be sick.
Benji, we're not sure if you follow the law, but Dan works with boats, not ships, and don't let him tell you otherwise.
Just
understood. Boats. And I operate solely in the desert. I have no clue what a boat or a ship even is.
You get an oasis every now and then, maybe a little paper one in the bath. Those are the 2 hot takes. Benji, thanks so much for taking part. I'm glad I finally got some spicy ones out there, and the fact that the Corbin Carroll one was still spicier than that very specific Ketel Marte one, I'll take that as a win for this entire calendar year.
Hell
No
yeah.
problem.
So we're going to move on to talking about the Arizona Diamondbacks. If you couldn't tell by now, and if you couldn't, then I don't know what to say at this point. So Benji is the host of the Seabacks podcast, which is, to my knowledge, the only British Diamondbacks podcast out there. Correct me if I'm wrong, Benji.
No, you're right. We are the only one to ever exist, and I am one of, as far as I'm aware, 3 Diamondbacks fans in the entire country.
Yeah, okay. I don't know any, so I'm going to take. Well, I know you, so you're one, and then there's got to be at least 2 more somewhere.
Yeah, there's 2 fan. One is at D-Backs UK, who I still have no idea who runs that, but it has UK in the name, so I'm assuming they're British. And then there's a fan account called JMart Enthusiast for our eponymous closer, Justin Martinez, who recently on Twitter a few months ago came out as British as a big dramatic reveal, and no one could believe it. And it was a whole big event, and then I lost my title of the most followed Diamondbacks fan out of the UK to JMart Enthusiast. But shout out JMart Enthusiast because their hot takes are brilliant as well.
I bet they're not as specific as mine.
Oh, absolutely not.
Just saying. Anyway, so we're here to talk about the Diamondbacks 2025 season review. Just a few stats just to get started. Diamondbacks finished with a record of 80 and 82, so almost 500. 4th in the NL West, behind those who shall not be named, the Padres, Cal's Giants, then yourselves, and then I think you could have sleepwalked and finished with a better record than the Rockies. Bit of a weird season for the Diamondbacks. I think there was a lot of expectation going in to maybe make a run at the wild card, and you guys were in it until last couple of weeks of the season. I think you finished the season with a 5-game losing streak, which obviously didn't really help. But the Cincinnati Reds got into the wild card with 3 more wins than you guys, so you weren't a million miles away. I guess the first question is, you've got one word to describe the Diamondbacks 2025 season. What is it?
I mean, if I can go onomatopoeia, I'm just going to go,
Yeah, we'll take that. We've had words.
That's probably the best expression of it that I have.
Well, why? Sorry, I don't do as good as impression as you. So what makes you feel that way?
Well, I can't help but notice you said we were expected to make a run at the wild card. If you were following any of the nonsense I was chatting before the season, I was expecting us to, be chasing the Dodgers for the division, given how much hype there was about, we were in a World Series, then we had to bit an off year, rebuilt a little bit, swapped a couple of names around from 2024 on the coaching staff. So we were replacing Tony Perez-Chica and Brent Strom, who were kind of the fall guys for not making the playoffs in 2025. We brought in Brian Kaplan and Sean Larkin to replace them both. Fairly well-respected guys in their respective organizations, coming from Philadelphia and from Pittsburgh. And then out of nowhere, we blew free agency out of the water. We spent $210 million to sign Corbin Burnes on a 6-year contract and became, the surprise team. We were the unnamed team in the sweepstakes for ages and ages and ages. Oh my God, we finally got an ace because we weren't quite sure what was going on with Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly. Maybe they were going to be good, maybe they weren't. But, we were trying to put the memory of Jordan Montgomery out of our mind because that was an absolute S show of a signing. We thought, yeah, this could be it. We've got some development. We've got some nice young arms coming through. Maybe Jordan Lawler's going to get a shot at some points. Top prospect. Everyone's been excited about him for as long as I can remember following this team, and I still hope that he can still come good. And yet, despite Geraldo Perdomo having an MVP candidate of a season and an absolute breakout for him, and anyone who listens to my show will know how much I love to talk about Geraldo Perdomo, we still finished 2 games under 500 with an absolute whimper instead of a bang. And then we have a sell-off at the trade deadline as well. And all of a sudden, there's no reason to be excited about this team anymore. So, yeah. Ugh.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I totally forgot that you guys signed Corbin Burnes until I read. I was like, oh, Corbin, but yeah, he did go there, didn't he? Because his family is from where he lives there in the off season, doesn't he?
well, most players either live in Florida or Arizona, but Corbin Burnes' wife, I believe, had twins just before the season started, and he wanted to be as close to home as possible. And we love to be able to leverage that. There's talks that we might be doing a similar thing with Alec Bregman at the moment. And, I'm fingers crossed on that because I think that would be an interesting signing. But yeah, he got 2.66 ERA in 11 games. He was looking great. And then bang, there goes his elbow alongside half of our bullpen needing Tommy John as well. And that's just like, well, the hell do we do now?
Yeah, I remember we played you right at the start of the year being the Cubs, and I think it's probably my game of the season when you guys were like 10-6 up in the 8th. And then my favourite pitcher in the world, Joe Mantiply, entered the game. And the rest to say is history.
Yeah.
I mean, looking on the pitching side, I normally do hitters, but we mentioned Corbin Burnes, so we'll start there. On the pitching side, was not a great year for you guys, putting it mildly. Zach Gallen in his free agency year did his best Kyle Tucker impression and absolutely stunk for quite a lot of it. 33 games, 4.83 ERA. Brandon, yep.
No, it is pronounced fart. You say it.
It
fart.
is fart.
Yeah.
Okay, Brandon Fart. 33 games again, a 5.25 ERA. But every time he plays the Cubs, he likes to drop a goose egg on us. So nice to see him get his comeuppance. Eduardo Rodriguez, 5.02. Ryan Nelson, it was all right, 3.39. The list goes on. I guess it's safe to say that your starting pitching was not a real strength, with the exception of Merrill Kelly before he got traded. Would that be a fair assumption?
Yeah, I think so. I think Ryan Nelson was a guy who started the year in the bullpen in long relief, but he is very much a starter candidate. But he was getting like close to Cy Young form towards the end of the year. He sort of got his moment in the sun after Merrill Kelly was dealt away at the deadline. Corbin Burnes was looking great as blah 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 as our ace. Zach Gallen auditioned for both New York teams. He goes up and pitches in New York when we play the Yankees and the Mets, and always looks absolutely outstanding. So people saying, yeah, he wants to go there, and he's a knuckleball guy, so maybe someone with a bit more humidity and a bit less desert might be more his speed. And I think we're sort of resigned to the fact that he's probably not coming back in his free agent year now, unless we can find another 100 million from somewhere. Brandon Fart was doing okay. He's a young guy. He's got time to develop. Sort of burst on the scene unexpectedly during our run to the postseason in 2023. Had an outstanding couple of appearances against the Phillies in the NLCS. He'll get there. However, he did throw what we've dubbed as the only yes hitter in baseball history at one point in the year, only managing 0.2 of an inning, giving up 8 earned runs with 3 inherited runners. So we'll gloss over that one. Eduardo Rodriguez continues to prove the idea that not every lefty that comes to Arizona with a big reputation is going to be the big unit, and we'll just pretend that he's not there anymore. He's likely to be the number 4, number 5 guy, or maybe even move to the bullpen this year, unless he can really sort some stuff out. So, yeah, the summary of it wasn't a great year for pitching. Starting pitching was bad. The bullpen was worse.
Yeah, I guess on the bullpen side, your 2 main closers were Justin Martinez and AJ Puck going into the start of the season, and their elbows exploded.
Yeah, with J Mart, he's younger. He throws really hard. He sort of inherited the closer title in basically everything but name, despite it not being made official, from the legend that is Paul Sewald, who, as far as I'm aware, is still playing baseball, which, good for him. That 88-mile-an-hour four-seamer's got to be working well somewhere. But yeah, J Mart, his velocity was up in spring training. No one really knew why. And then people figured out why when it's, his shoulder's inflamed, his elbow's inflamed, and now he's out for the season. Step up AJ Puck. 2 games later, there goes his elbow. In comes Kevin Ginkel. We'll put him as the 9th inning guy. Yeah, his wrist's gone and he's got blisters on his fingers. Right, yeah, he's out. And it's just a continuous rotation of guys from AAA into the bullpen for the rest of the year, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's tough when you don't have I'm not a fan of having a closer, mainly because the Cubs don't seem to do well with them. I've always been along the lines of you put your best guys in against the best man of the lineup. So last year we'd have Brad Keller, who was our best bullpen piece. He'd come in the 8th inning if needed to face the heart of the order, and then Palencia chucking 101 would close it out. I guess we're going to move on to the hitting. And Cal, quick question for you: is there a better name in baseball currently than the name Blaze Alexander?
Oh, I don't know. There's some good ones. Blaze Alexander, I hardly know her, is fucking astounding though.
I saw the name. I was like, Cal's going to enjoy that one.
I do enjoy that. Listen, you carry on with that, and I'll think of 3 equally good names by the time we're back.
Okay, so we'll quickly run through the hitters, and then Cal's going to give us just before halftime better names than Blaze Alexander. We'll start Perdomo. He was brilliant. 100 RBIs, 20 home runs. Always solid defensively, from what I've heard. I didn't know the man could hit. Was this his real breakout season? Do you think he'll come again next year, Benji, or is it a one-season wonder?
Oh, no, undoubtedly this is a breakout year for him, and I think it's an indicator of things to come. He's always been clutch. He can always get on base. He walked a lot in 2024, but adding the productivity in terms of the power to his game, that was something relatively new. I think 20 home runs, if you'd have said to me, Geraldo Perdomo is going to hit 20 home runs this year, I would have asked you, what are you injecting into his arms? But he's a fantastic switch hitter, not the biggest guy, plays out in short, but can also play second or third. But he's really the captain of the infield out there at shortstop, very much a good organizer of the defense. But yeah, no one really saw this coming. I think if you were outside the organization, it's just, Geraldo Perdomo, yeah, he's going to start in shortstop. He's probably going to rotate through with Jordan Lawler, given that Jordan Lawler's the top prospect. But Perdomo was just too good. He was a ninth flip over for the order guy 2 years ago, and now he's played leadoff in half of our games because you just know he's going to do something at the plate. So always love to see that, and he's locked down to a long-term extension, I believe, until 2029, but most people are expecting him to have a little C icon on his chest next year. He's been that big of an organization guy.
Carried your team, some would say. We spoke about it in hot takes. So what's going on with Ketel Marte? Because for me, he has been the Diamondbacks' best player for the 2 seasons prior to this one. I'm guessing there was a little injury there because I can see he only played 126 games. Still got 28 home runs. Hit for 283, so a little bit more than under 200 as I may have predicted. 376 on base percentage. Why is he in the trade crosshairs?
Well, he's perhaps a luxury at the moment that we can't necessarily afford if I'm going to be borrowing some terms from Moneyball. He still had 4.4 WAR and good both offensively and defensively. He's very much the face of the franchise and the fans love him. However, we've got him on a long-term deal where he's going to be adding 5-10 million per year, increasing for the next few years. I think we desperately need some more arms, and if any team is going to come and make a trade with Arizona, it's probably going to be for Ketel Marte. Mm-hmm. I think the story was we weren't ever actively shopping him to anyone, but GM Mike Hazen has come out and said, yeah, we're taking calls on Ketel, and then a story broke that somebody from within the clubhouse, and it is unconfirmed as to who that was, said that the rest of the team are disconcerted with how much time Ketel seems to get off. And some of that was for personal reasons. His home back in the Dominican Republic was burgled, and he flew back during the season to be with his family and help sort that out. And then he was injured, and then we were very careful about giving him time to recover and didn't rush him back. So he was absent for longer, and then he's out of the clubhouse, and it's like, well, where's the face of the franchise, guys? And I think some people really jumped on that as people don't like Ketel in Arizona, and D-backs want to get rid of him. Just absolute nonsense. But if you were to look at, okay, what do other teams want? The best second baseman in baseball's got to be pretty high up there. And no, that's not a hot take to say that. That is very much where I would put Ketel Marte.
I don't disagree. I think the only other names that come to mind straight away are Nico Horner and Bryce Terang in the National League side, at least. Trying to think of Casey Smith, nicest guy in baseball. Cal tells me. I guess on the positional side, I mean, Marte, Perdomo had good defensive seasons. Corbin Carroll, we've spoken about a bit in the hot takes. He led the team in triples with 17. Pretty sure he had more than he just had a few less than the rest of the team combined. 31 home runs. Outside of those 3, and maybe to a lesser extent Lourdes Gurriel, I've always thought of the Diamondbacks as a team that has offense coming from everywhere. like a few years ago, you had Gabby Moreno hitting 20 home runs. You had Alec Thomas contributing. I'm looking at the stats, and honestly, outside of the top four, Gabby Moreno was next on the list with 9 home runs and 40 RBIs. And you had Alec Thomas with 9 home runs and 38 RBIs. For me, there was just no, outside of those 4, there was just no supporting cast. Would that be fair to say?
Well, I believe the list that you're probably looking at doesn't include Eugenio Suarez or Josh Naylor, who were both dealt at the trade deadline.
God damn it, I forgot. I always forget about Suarez. That annoys me.
He who had obviously an incredible season over there at the hot corner. He had a game where he hit 4 home runs in one game, and we still managed to somehow lose that game because the bullpen exists.
Was that against the Yankees?
No, but I don't think it was. I'm fairly certain it ended up being against Cincinnati. Who?
I'll look it up. I'll fact check that. Just because.
But yeah, we had power at both corners, and we couldn't afford to keep power at both corners. So we finished the year with Blaze and Jordan Lawler playing the platoon at third. Part of the Josh Naylor trade was for Tyler Locklear, who's a prospect from the Seattle Mariners, and he can't seem to hit a major league fastball, and he's platooning with someone who I've liked to rag on in the past, who is a guy's named Pavin Smith at first base, and he only seems to be able to hit when he's playing against Justin Verlander, and he can't hit any other pitcher.
Suarez hit 4 home runs against the Braves.
Against Atlanta, yes, of course. Yeah.
10 innings. 8-7 loss. God. I apologize. I forgot that Suarez was on the Diamondbacks. I had no idea Josh Naylor was on the Diamondbacks until you told me. If you'd have told me that, I'd be like, nah, you're lying.
Yeah, he had himself a little bit of an incredible season. Traded for starting pitcher Slade Ciccone at the start of the year. Slade was a guy who electric first 2 times through the order, can't possibly deal with the third time through the order, and gives up a lot of runs in towards the ends of his appearances. He went to Cleveland. We got Josh Naylor back. That solved the first base problem for a year. And now, obviously, he's gone to Seattle. He's re-signed with Seattle. They love him over there. Huge guy, but runs the bases tremendously well. Got a little bit of pop, got a bit of attitude. Exactly the kind of guy you need in your clubhouse. And he is a big loss in terms of how we're going to fill his boots in this offseason.
Well, that's a great segue because we'll get on to the 2026 offseason after halftime.
See, I'm a pro. There we go.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to at MLB for not including Suarez's stats on the breakdown I'm looking at. I'm going to blame them, not myself, because I'm perfect.
Oh, of course.
Cal, I believe you might have 3 names for us before we hit halftime.
I do. Just quickly, how bad was Nick Ahmed this year? Just for my own personal satisfaction.
Well, Nick Ahmed hasn't been a Diamondback for a few years now, so...
Where did he go for this season?
Well, he's played for every team in the National League aside from the Rockies since he left the Diamondbacks. I believe he was part of the Texas Rangers organization.
You're correct.
This year.
On the Rangers.
Okay. There's only like 4 people I've ever seen play for the Giants that I have a real disdain for, and Nick Ahmed's fucking one of them. Get a helmet that fits. You look like an idiot. Anyway, I've got 3 names that I think maybe not better than Blaze Alexander, but equally as good. The first one is a man with 2 last names, O'Neal Cruz. Rad name. Fucking awesome name. Second name, okay, I understand. It is a nickname, but Rowdy Tellez, dude, what a name. That's sick. And the third one, former D-back, Seth Beer. Hell yeah.
Oh, yes, we do love a little bit of a Seth Beer, the famous beer game. If you want to look that one up in the audience, if you want to switch over onto your TikToks, look up the Seth Beer game and you'll find out what I'm talking about.
And on that teaser, we're going to pause for halftime. When we come back, we're going to chat about the 2026 season. We might have a few more names that we enjoy. And as always, we're going to end with the Start Bench Club. We'll see you after the break.
Hello, welcome back. It's been maybe 2 seconds, but for us, it feels like a lifetime. We are looking forward to the 2026 season with Benji from the T-Backs podcast. We've had a look at last year and decided it was quite impressively But how are you feeling about next year? What's the overall vibe? What are you at least optimistic again?
I think probably one of my biggest red flags, both as a podcaster and in my personal life, is how optimistic I can get about the absolute smallest bits of news. But it's hard to not say things are only going to get better after a year where at the season's end we had no pitcher who had both an intact elbow and more than 3 saves on the year. But we've been doing some work to be making some signings already. We've re-signed Merrill Kelly on a financially little more expensive than we expected deal, but he's not called Merrill the mainstay for nothing. We dealt him away at the deadline to Texas because he was our best starting pitcher whose arms was still not hanging on by a bone. He said, "Oh, I want to go back to Arizona in my free agency." He did, so we effectively got 3 of Texas's best pitching prospects for free. 2 of those are looking to be just about major league ready. Been David Hageman and Mitch Bratt, both of whom were, I think, receiving calls from the Canadian team for the World Baseball Classic. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone knows about that. So that tells you about the kind of standard that we're expecting those guys to be at. We've signed Mike Soroka out of free agency. He's a guy who's previously a starter on the Nationals and the White Sox, got moved to the bullpen, looked okay. He's expected to be the number 5 starter this year. So all of a sudden, we've actually managed to fill the rotation back up. All of a sudden, we don't need to trade Ketel Marte, although we still might for someone, quote unquote. And unless I'm checking my phone in a minute and all of a sudden he's been dealt, but I doubt it, it's looking a little bit better. We just probably need to figure out the corner infield and find a bit of productivity like we were talking about before the break. Replacing Suarez and Naylor is going to be hard, and I don't think we've found the guys to do it yet. However, Blaze Alexander, one of our favorite names in baseball, as we've established, fought his way onto the roster in spring training last year with bat speed that no one really saw coming. He's kind of this guy was like, oh, is he going to be shortstop? He's going to play center field. Is he going to play in left? Is he going to play third base? We don't know. Third base looks to be, his to lose if Jordan Lawler still can't figure out how to hit major league pitching, although he will also play in the outfield until Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is looking a little bit fitter and recovered from his injury. That being said, there's talk of a reunion with Paul Goldschmidt on the cards as well for the first base spot. And my, oh my, I would love that. So if we're being optimistic, Goldie, if you're watching, please.
He does, actually. He DMs us quite often. Just says, please stop talking shit about the Yankees. I haven't left yet. But no, that's good. I'm glad that there's, reason to be optimistic still. We spoke in the Orioles review, which should have come out before this one does, but there's every chance it doesn't. We think that just being a baseball fan in general is a mental illness, and it kind of just provides you this crazy sense of optimism based off of nothing but heartbreak from what was it, like 3 months ago? Because like 3 months ago, if you'd asked any of the 3 of us, what do you think about next year? We'd have gone, I just can't go through that hurt again. But like 8 weeks off and we're like, no, I'm ready to do it again. Hurt me, tie me up, spank me, do whatever you want to me. Just sign some free agents and I'll be smiling.
Well, speak for yourself, Cal. I'll go through a lot of things for my Diamondbacks, but there is a line somewhere to be found.
Is there any free agent? I know we mentioned Goldie, but like, is there any free agents in particular that you'd really like the Diamondbacks to go after?
Well, getting Merrill Kelly was a huge deal, and we love him. And he also went to the same high school as my partner, so he's a little bit of a personal favorite. I think we have to say bye-bye to Zach Gallen. I just don't think we can afford him. The word before this free agency was we probably had $30 million to spend for the year. We signed, I think, $7.5 million of that for Mike Soroka, $20 million AAV for Merrill Kelly. So we're really in the bargain bucket now. Jose Urquidy, who's a guy who does have a World Series ring with the Astros, was brought in, and he's expected to be on a minor league deal going towards spring training. And I think that's a positive pickup. I think that's some well-needed experience to mentor some of the young guys who we've been trading for in the deadline. There's talk that Alex Bregman is going to be around, and I'm not quite sure how that's going to shake out. The Red Sox, incidentally, were one of the teams that were rumored to be in on trading for Ketel. So whether or not that's just another bit of Scott Boras shimmery diggery black magic just to get the price up on Bregman before he re-ups with them, not sure. I would have liked to have seen some links to us going and drafting those guys from the NPB, Kazuma Okamoto and Tatsuma Imai, especially, but they are going to be so far out of our price range. So that's another one of my little pipe dreams. I could just be like optimistic that maybe we're the mystery team in a sweepstakes, but I really don't think that's going to happen.
It's understandable. I think the last I was reading, because one of the Japanese guys, you'll all have to forgive me, I forget his name, and I don't want to get it wrong. He's a third baseman, power hitting third baseman, but it seems like a lot of major league teams are viewing him more as somebody to kind of start the season in AAA. So, maybe after a while of knowing what his major league value would be if he was still wanting to go to America. If you could get him on a bit of a cheaper deal, or at least something slightly more back-ended, that could be really fun.
Yeah, there's the two guys I think who've been posted, and shout out to Yakyu Cosmopolitan on Twitter who keeps me abreast of all things in the NPB. There's Munetaka Murakami. He's predominantly the first base guy. He's very famous for his performance for Japan at the World Baseball Classic. But he strikes out a lot. So people are saying, oh, yeah, well, he's absolutely going to be a Yankee next year then, but we're not sure. Either way, the Diamondbacks definitely can't afford him. And despite the fact his market does seem to be cooling, not quite sure if we're ever going to be able to get the market cold enough to be a point where like, oh, yeah, we can sign him for the bag of baseballs and some Fritos and a Sonoran hot dog that we have left to spend. Okamoto, on the other hand, he seems to be a bit more of the well-rounded option, and we do need somebody who can actually, play some defense as well. In our past few years of first baseman or third baseman, we've gone from Evan Longoria and Christian Walker, who I believe have 6 Gold Gloves between them, to Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor, who have none but still play okay defense. Now to Pavin Smith and Blaze Alexander, where both of them have significant question marks when it comes to defense in their game. Not hating, just stating a fact. So getting somebody to play a corner infield spot who can actually stop the ball with their glove would be nice.
That's fair. You don't want to see a reunion with Suarez at all?
I would love to. I don't think he's gonna get the kind of money that we're able to pay. The thing about Suarez, when we signed him 2 years ago, he had such a cold streak to start the year, and we stuck with him, and he looked okay towards the latter end of 2024, and then he was amazing in 2025. I was like, oh my God, Gino, this is why we stuck with him. Bet you're all eating your words now. Then we traded him, and he was cold in Seattle for almost all the games he played there. It's like, yeah, he's streaky. We don't need streaky right now. We need, league average consistency, and that's all we can afford.
All we want is for you to be fine. We don't need you to excel. We just need you to do your job enough.
And that's what we were saying with Jordan Lawler. He's been our top prospect for years upon years, and he, was a pinch runner in the World Series in 2023. And it was like, okay, well, 2024 spring training, we'll give you your shot. And you'd think the guy was playing, Fruit Ninja with the bat from the way he was waving at things. He was nowhere near, especially on the off-speed stuff. He was sitting fastball. And if you're going to sit fastball, you need to be able to hit a pitch that's coming at you 100 miles an hour, and he can't do that either. So if he doesn't work it out this year, I think he's going to get dealt, because his value is plummeting at the moment. And I think Blaze has got his eyes on his spot. Then you got to look further down in the organization. You've got Jansen Luis, Lou James Groover, Tommy Troy. All of these strong infield prospects are going to come for Jordan Lawler's spot if he is not careful. So as much as I'd love Jordan to come good, because there's a lot of fans piling on his back, it needs to be pretty soon. And like I said, we need somebody who can be just fine. If he's just fine, it's still going to be disappointing, because was expected to be just that good. But if he is just fine, that will be an improvement.
Yeah, it would be nice. I was a little bit disappointed with the Diamondbacks last year, and I think it's largely just due to injuries, where it was, it felt like there was going to be this really big, huge race, and I thought that the Giants would be incredibly fortunate to come second, and was more than happy with third. But I feel like this year it may be a little bit closer, but I don't know if it's going to be significantly better. I think it's just going to be another 5 wins each way. But I don't know. How do you feel about the NL West? I think it might finish just the same. Just everyone wins a couple more.
Yeah, I'm not expecting us to, make any great push. I think some people are expecting this to be a rebuild year for us. Either way, it's going to be, we're going to play some mediocre baseball. We're going to win a few games. We're going to lose a few games. We're still not going to get Corbin Burnes back until at least the All-Star break from his Tommy John. So we had to fill out the rotation with the other guys. Merrill Kelly is going to be 38 by the end of his current contract, so he can't be the guy forever, especially when you only throw 94 on your fastball. However, he's got good secondary stuff. He can throw, 6 pitches if he wants to. That's going to get shelled every once in a while, the same as happens with every other pitcher, and we're expecting the exact same thing to happen with Erod this year. However, if we can just cut out the silly mistakes, stop trying to turn our pitches into, mannequins with pins and needles and gaffer tape holding them together, that would be a good start. There's been a couple additions in the pitching department. A little bit of a tidy stat that I liked was how much better the team was after we signed James McCann to be the backup catcher. He's, of course, a veteran guy, played predominantly most of his baseball in Baltimore. He really improved every pitcher he played with. We went from having Jose Herrera as the backup catcher with Aramis Garcia and Edra del Castillo also making some appearances. We know Gabby's probably not going to be able to catch 100 games because he is a little bit injury prone. So bringing in James McCann was a great move. He's back now, and he's going to get a full season of Arizona Diamondbacks baseball. So I think if anybody's going to finally get our 20, 30 million worth a year out of Merrill Kelly and Erod before we have to say, okay, completely trash everything and start the kids as the starting pitchers for a year just to blood them, James McCann is the catcher to help that happen.
Hell yeah. I've
accidentally been really positive there already. I'm like, oh God, I can feel myself spiraling. It's going to be great. We're going to win everything. No,
this is the mental health issues that comes with being a baseball fan. Like what I was talking about. You start talking about your team just for a second. Actually, no, you're right. Matt Chapman is the best third baseman of all time. Who I don't care anymore. If you could give us like a Vegas line of over/under wins that you think the Diamondbacks might sit at this season, where do you think? We've had some pretty outrageous ones. We've had some semi-decent one, about 80 wins. We've had some, 119. Whereabouts do you think the Diamondbacks are going to be?
Oh, time to be delusional again, I'm afraid. If this team, and I'm including the kind of fringe guys who have been amazing, but aren't necessarily always amazing, if they can be as consistent as I've seen them be before, with Blaze playing third, with Pavin playing first, with, Alec Thomas, who may or may not be traded later this year, doing okay, this team can win 90 games without breaking too much of a sweat. But this is not going to be a team that's going to hit a crap ton of home runs, especially not if Ketel Marte is traded as well. So we need some power to make that happen first.
Fair. I think the potential trade does loom quite heavy because it makes quite a big difference for how the front office is going to prepare for the start of the season as well. So I think it's, we've never had it's too early to do a winning total here, but we just got to wait for the trade to come through, I guess. But 90 wins is, we'll take it, we'll book it. It will be in a graphic at some point, and we'll see.
Oh yeah, feel free to remind me of that when we've had the losingest season in baseball at the end of the year, and tweet me and tag me and do everything else, because I'll be putting out more delusional stuff like that on my accounts, and I need somebody to call me on it. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going.
Good. Feed the delusion. There's nothing to stop you.
It could be that you end up with a 90 figure just in the losses column instead. It'd be like, hey, I got the number right.
Yeah, a 72-90 is also possible. I'd say equally as possible as 90 in the win column this year. I really have no clue how good this team is going to be. If it ends up having to, sell off everyone else again, we're going to be down to playing the kids, and we've got some pretty good kids in AAA. There's guys who I do really keep an eye on. Like we got Taiwan's ace pitcher basically in Yumin Lin, who won the Premier 12 against Japan, striking out Atani and striking out Murakami and Okamoto, and he could be great if he can settle himself down a bit more. The AAA thing in Reno, it's a very hitter-friendly league, so it doesn't really give you very good stats when it comes to pitchers. But when he comes to spring training, he looks like a major league pitcher. His attitude is that of a major league pitcher. He's got a colossal following in Taiwan. If he breaks through, he could have, a rookie of the year season as the number 5 starting pitcher on this rotation. If, we say, yes, Soroka's better in the bullpen. Oh, Erod doesn't have it anymore, etc., etc. It's just a case of there's so many guys who could, but there's very few guys who will.
Mm.
Nice. So I've just got one question to end it on before we hit start bench cut. Imagine that I'm a newborn baseball fan. I've just woken up out of the womb. I bat my eyelids, and I'm obviously coherent. I'm not a child. But I look at all 30 MLB teams in front of me, and I go, them Diamondbacks. Tell you what, maybe I'll support them this year. Why should I tune into the Diamondbacks season, and what have I got to look forward to next year?
Well, if you're just tuning in and staying up for first pitches at 3 a.m, like I tend to do for this team, Bob Brenly on the broadcast is a fun guy to listen to. However, if you're going over to the desert and you fancy that trip, there's a goddamn pool in the ballpark, and it's right behind the right field wall, and you can sit there in your little baby swimming costume because you're a baby apparently, and you can watch a baseball game from a pool, and they have table service, and they'll bring you a hot dog while you're in the pool, and there's no restrictions on eating in the pool, although there probably should be for sanitary reasons. So why the hell wouldn't you? In terms of on the field baseball reasons, there's not a huge amount of reasons I can give you aside from if you're a baby, you're going to find the fact that we have a pitcher called Fart funny. So yeah, go buy a jersey that says Fart on the back.
They're fast. The Diamondbacks are just super fast. Just watching them run the bases alone is enough reason to tune into a Diamondbacks game, I think.
Yeah, very true. We've clocked, I believe, in the 2023 run to the postseason, 8 of the 10 fastest base-to-base times in baseball. That's Corbin Carroll. That's Jake McCarthy. That's Geraldo Perdomo. That's Alec Thomas. There's Blaze Alexander's got some sneaky good speed on him. We had, until recently, we had Josh Naylor, who, despite weighing something like 300 pounds, runs the bases like a pro. We can cause chaos. That was sort of the little brand they had going on a few years ago. It's like cause chaos on the bases. That's the Diamondback way. When they're doing that, it's really fun to watch. And when they're not doing it, then it's abysmal. So you just have to pray that you get a good game for that.
That's fantastic. I just want to apologize. There were 2 sounds there. One was a video decided to play on my other screen as I was closing the tab. So that was a witch's scream, I believe, for approximately half a millisecond. And my inhaler hit the floor. So I apologize when we play this back. And there are 2 sounds that don't deserve to be on the podcast, but I'm not good enough at editing to remove them. So Benji, thank you so much. That was a great, to basically say that we're fast as fuck and we've got a pitcher called Fart on our team. I would tune in for that if I was a...
Yeah, we're not all serious over here in this fandom. We don't have much else to do. Half the time we're wandering around watching our left fielder build little sandcastles using it at the edge of the dugout with the dirt, using his little cup, and then putting little sunflower seeds in the top of it, and then they're all crowding around the iPad like iPad babies. It's a fun fandom to be a part of because there aren't very many of us, so we all have to be funny. Otherwise, it gets really boring and really depressing really quickly.
And if you ever wonder why they've got 90 losses next year, you can just take that air quote, my left fielder likes to build sandcastles. Hopefully it's not when the game's going on.
Yeah, like watching Little League where there's just a kid sat down in center field, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Benji, we can't let you go without a start bench cut or 2. It's tradition. As always, we've got one baseball, one non-baseball related one. I've got the baseball one, believe it or not, and Cal's got the non-baseball one. If you don't know how start bench cut works, again, I don't know what to tell you at this point. You start one, you bench one, and guess what? Guess what you do with the third one? Have a guess. Go on.
Start that one as well.
Yeah, why not? Because we're that kind of team, and we don't care how baseball works. We're just here to vibe.
Yeah, that's. I'm pretty tired. It's been a long week at work, so I'm just going to say my free. So I'm glad you mentioned the fact that the Diamondbacks have got a pool in the outfield. I think it's really cool. So mine's like, there are water features that you can watch the game in, and it's what would you prefer? One is you could start a hot tub similar to what they've got in the Diamondbacks. I believe it's heated. It might not be. I've never been in.
It is, yes.
It is. Let's say it's a hot tub. Second one, a wave pool. So you're just bobbing along with the waves, nice little floaty. You go up, home run, and you're back down, and I'm getting excited just thinking about it. And the third one is a nice bubble bath, private bubble bath, as many bubbles as you want. In the UK, we've got this. I don't know if they still sell it, but I was like 10 when I last bought it. Maybe 10 days ago, actually. And it's like a plastic sailor, and it's just like the cutest little bubble bath,
Matey.
Yeah, matey bubble bath. Absolutely love that shit. It's like drugs.
This is how you know this is a British podcast as well, because you cannot buy that stuff in Walmart.
If they put that in Walmart, it would probably be illegal based on chemicals in the eyes. So you can watch a game either from a hot tub, a wave pool, or your own private bubble bath with as many or few bubbles as you wish. What would you start benching, Benji?
Now, I am biased towards a hot tub because that's a very real prospect of, like, I can go to Arizona and I can do that if I have the money to. I'm gonna immediately cut the wave pool. I feel like I'm just gonna make myself sick with that. I'll be laying there. Also, I feel like just the practicalities of building that in a stadium's not going to be great. The Diamondbacks have got a bit of a back and forth going on with the local city council about taxpayer funds and stadium renovations. We say, oh yeah, we're going to build a wave pool in left field to mirror the hot tub in right. I think somebody's probably going to object to their taxpayer money being used for that. So yeah, I'm afraid I'm cutting the wave pool.
I bet it's been used for worse, but carry on.
Hey, I'm not gonna judge anybody, but we're gonna move on. I'm gonna bench the bubble bath because I have tried listening to a game broadcast just while I've gotten into the tub before. I'm maybe exposing myself a little bit here, and I've dropped my phone in the bath while trying to turn the volume up after I believe it was Lourdes Gurriel made a great leaping catch out in left to rob a home run off, I think, Bobby Witt Jr. I've gone, oh hell yeah, look, and then my phone's in the bath, and I had to put it on rice for the rest of the night to get all the water out of it. So I'm benching that just because I still think it's a better idea than the wave pool. And we're starting the hot tub because the D-backs have it, so it's already a perfect concept. Why do you need to change it?
I'm just a big fan of bubbles, but I fully respect those answers. Cal, are you changing anything?
No, I don't think I am. The wave pool is a serious motion sickness and drowning concern of mine. Especially they kind of go off occasionally, and then there's like you get a few really big ones and stuff. And what if you get just people coming at you because they're carried by the weight? It's
a lawsuit waiting to happen.
There's enough stress watching the Giants. I don't need people flying at my face added to it. I'm gonna bench the bubbles because I feel like, as fun as it would be between innings to fuck around with the bubbles and make little kind of statues and stuff, whatever, I just feel like there's a false sense of privacy that people may take advantage of, and I don't want to be in the same body of water as that's going on. So let's keep it clear. Let's keep the hot tub with the glass mirror so we can see what's going on. Let's do that. I'm going hot tub to start. Bench the bubbles and keep your hands where I can see them.
Nice. I think I'm gonna start all of them. Because I'm gonna put bubble bath in all of them. I'm gonna have a bubble wave pool going.
Yeah, no one's stopping you from smuggling in your bubble bath in your hydro flask.
get my mate out just to get all in the hot tub when they're not looking.
A bunch of bath bombs. It's just all gone red.
Yeah. It's been and then the hot tub's all mine with my bubbles.
There was a very famous incident where the Dodgers celebrated their postseason berth after winning a game at Chase Field and took over the pool. And there was a chance that was going to happen again this year, to the point where the Diamondbacks posted several security guards at specific access points to the pool to make sure that didn't happen. So if you want to smuggle in that bubble bath, be my guest, but I'm not going to be held liable for what security does to you afterwards.
I'll be in the pool. I'll just have Cal pouring it in from above.
Yeah, I got an arm. I can do it from a few seats away. That's fine.
Yeah, anyway, that was the baseball one, believe it or not. So now it's time for the non-baseball one.
I've gone with the tea theme. I don't know if you're much of a tea connoisseur yourself.
I mean, it's in the name.
Yeah, all right. In which case, we got some heavy hitters, some true stalwarts of the industry. Your start bench cut in the tea world is Earl Grey, Green, and Darjeeling.
Oh,
the champagne of teas, some might say.
Some might say that, not me. As we like to open up every episode of the T-Backs podcast, which is my very British take on D-backs, for those of you who wanted an explainer on why the show is called that. We always open it up by saying that we are proud to be Arizona's #1 baseball and beverage podcast, because we are Arizona's only baseball and beverage podcast. And we also do include a review of a new blend of tea every episode, which is a little thing just to be like, hey, we don't just talk about sports. We actually do have quote unquote culture. On that note, I am currently sitting here with a green tea with a little bit of honey in my mug just to keep this voice silky smooth. So I absolutely have to start it. It's usually my regular starter when I'm just sitting here recording my notes for a show. I got to say, the Earl Grey is on the bench. You bring it in. For me, the Earl Grey is on the bench, on hand, ready whenever the mother-in-law comes around. Right, whip that shit out. We've got the Earl Grey ready to go. Absolute heavy lifter. That's the workhorse of the team. That's your Geraldo Perdomos. That's the Geraldo Perdomos of tea, and I think that's got to rate it pretty highly. And I'm cutting Darjeeling. I've drunk it. I didn't like it. It's not my vibe. Don't know why. It's just never really sat well with me. Nothing against people who like it, but not my deal.
Fair enough, Gaz. How do you feel about tea?
See, I'm gonna dox myself here, but I don't drink tea.
Hell yeah!
Boo, boo, get out of here.
I don't do any hot drinks. I'm not just prejudiced against tea. I do hot chocolates. When it's in the winter, a nice bit of whipped cream, but that's more for the fanfare as opposed to actual love of the game.
I take back my earlier comment about this being a British show.
Hey, we've got an American as a co-host who works with boats, so
he does work.
We claim to be 2/3 British and 1/3 nautical themed.
Hell yeah! So your start bench cut was Earl Grey, Green, and Darjeeling, and you've gone hot chocolate. I respect it.
I forgot to answer.
Yeah, I won't knock a hot chocolate as well. To be fair, I will say I did have the new Grinch McCafe hot chocolate with the coconut syrup in the other day, and that was pretty good.
Hell yeah! And just to keep it going, Iron Brew. So if there anything you're wanting to plug at all, Benji? Maybe a certain podcast we might have mentioned once or twice.
Oh, yes. So in case you didn't know, listeners, I also ramble about baseball, usually Diamondbacks, but also covering some international ball. I also cover fairly often on location what's going on with the Great British National Team. I will be seeing every one of you in Houston next year for the World Baseball Classic as well, live on the show. So yes, I am T-Backs Podcast on all platforms, and you can also find me at GB Diamondback on X, formerly Twitter, as well as on Instagram at T-Backs Podcast, and on TikTok as at T-Backs. And that's about it.
See that? That was media trained. That was smooth. That was scripted and perfected. That was wonderful.
Yeah, I'm not going to reveal the fact that I've got just the pre-scripted intro and outro that I use every episode sitting on my notes tab in front of me as well. Oh, wait, no. Oh,
hey, man,
cut that bit out.
That's the level of professionalism that we aspire to, but really cannot be bothered with. And I respect it. That's great. But no, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for taking time out of your day to come and, well, tell us what happened with the Diamondbacks last year and what to look out for next year. I've had fun. Guys, have you had a good time?
Fantastic, mate.
Fucking no.
Woo!
All right. Well, this has been another episode of A Brit Does Baseball Does podcast. I've been Cal, that's been Gaz, and we've been joined by Benji. We'll see you very soon.